We will do that. Does anybody want to ask a question? Yeah?
I just wanted to
Well,
finish
well,
up
that's-
on
really
we
ask a
just want to
question.
give people who haven't asked a question a chance.
This is so totally different.
Okay, we did election integrity, we've done it for a long time, since right after the election in 2020. We've gone over, I can say for Laurie and Coventry, I brought people I know that died, I brought people I know that sold their houses, we brought a whole list page of things to Laurie. She did go through and show us on the computer, and she looked up the people who were dead and said, oh yeah, she looked up their obituary, said, oh yeah, they're dead, I'll be able to take this one off. She looked up the houses that I said, these people don't live here, they haven't lived here for a while, they sold their house, are they still on the voting list? They were still on the voting list. She says, oh, so she looked up the real estate thing and saw that it said sold. So she knew there was another person now living there that was sold, that person doesn't live there anymore. So she did fix those in front of us, a few that she showed us that she went through, but we had many, okay? But what I'm saying is they didn't pick them up, when we went, we picked them up. We brought them and said, we have all these things, we have so much fraud, just in Coventry alone. We went, we took pictures of places, businesses, that people had voted from businesses. You're not supposed to vote from a business. But we took pictures, I took pictures, I went in and asked, one of the places, the cook was the one who sent it in. But he didn't live there, he worked there, but he didn't live there. But he was able to register from there. I went to a neighbor because we canvassed the streets. Most of the people, when we went to the doors, he'd say, you know, did you vote in person, vote the day of election, vote by mail? They said, oh, we vote day of election. Well, we looked up on the paper because we had the papers that showed if they voted by mail or the other. According to the paperwork we had from the state, they voted by mail. I said, your vote didn't count. Because you said you went and voted in person, but according to the state, it says that you voted by mail. We ran into a lot of that. Very, very upsetting. There's so many different things. I went to a lady down the street. Somebody had voted from her house, been voting for 10 years. She didn't know who this person was, but he'd been voting from Coventry for 10 years from her address.
So Gail, I asked, as I have before, provide me with the data.
We've given
That's
data.
all I
Okay,
ask.
okay,
Not to us.
so I'm just getting some points out here. I just want people to understand what's going on, that there's all these things going on. The board of canvassers told us they didn't have to answer to us because they're not elected. We can't elect the people that are changing our rules in our towns. The board of electors at the board of elections, they're not elected either. They're given these positions, we never get a say, yet those few people can change the rules.
And they
of how we
certify our
vote.
elections.
So,
Yes,
so
they
Gail,
certify elections, but
so-
we can't do that, okay? I have one big question, because I know you're not gonna answer this, but I just want to tell you people that's what happens. I was collecting signatures last Wednesday, for the election to put Republicans on the ballots, because they didn't have any Republicans for president on the ballot. They said by 4 o'clock we had 1,000 signatures for them to get some Republicans on the ballot. I went to a couple of the gun shops, because they're patriots. So I know I'm gonna get some people to sign, and I did, everybody in the place is signed. I was coming out, and this really bothered me, maybe you can answer it, Rob. As I came out, this van pulled up, brand spanking new van, and about 8 illegals came out. You know they were illegals, they were all foreigners, young guys, and they went into the gun shop. Does that little pass that you give them that's the same as ours, are they allowed to buy ammunition and guns with those things?
No,
The ID.
no.
No, they
You
can't?
need a blue
You need a
card to
blue
buy
card for
ammunition.
that.
Then why were all these foreigners all of a sudden going into this? I was just
Sure,
shocked.
You can buy
Yeah.
oppositions there, they can't buy ammunition.
Gail, so back to
The
your,
gun
back to
things, that
yeah.
really bothered me, I just said, well,
Understood.
yeah.
So here's the thing though, I asked in front of everyone here, because I've asked you before. Anytime, and this goes for everybody, if there's ever anything untoward in elections, a person who says they didn't vote even though they're listed on the list, or someone voted by mail for somebody else, you've gotta give us the information. Because it doesn't do us or anyone here or anyone in the state any good if we don't have that information. I know, Gail, you gave us a couple names one time, we looked them up and we explained everything to you. But if you have information about people who don't live at addresses that were voting from there, or someone registering from a business, we need to know about it. And we need
Brought this to
specific
the
examples.
Supreme
Why?
Court. We had a case in front of the Supreme Court, it was in conference, but they refused to look at it till after the
but can
22
you-
election, and then they canceled the whole thing.
But just,
Said, well,
but I'm asking if you could just give me the information.
But
That's
they
all
have
I
all the
ask.
information.
But give it to me.
The bigger point, Rob, is why do the people have to go to an expert or somebody that has controlled information Yes, we have privacy concerns, those have to be addressed. But for clarification on a lot of issues, why do we have election experts at all? Why is it not just something that is at this point leveled out to the point where oversight is actually conducted by the people of the towns and being able to do those canvases? There's information being held that is within a body that we have to keep making requests. And if we don't use the right terms, I actually requested something and found out that my request wasn't fulfilled. Yeah, that could be an error, but it could also be deliberate. I can't discern that difference.
Right.
I won't make the accusation, but I'm like, okay, because you have human error. We're trying to take and find information, and we want to make sure that everything is clear and above board. Everybody being treated equally, that everybody has a stake in the game. We all have equity in this country of ours. And we want inclusion. We want everybody to be treated and included that is actually citizens of Rhode Island. I want people to vote. I agree with Greg that really we need to have all of people involved.
Yes.
And never to the point where we have individuals that are sort of checking out or not being involved. I think it's sort of like my suggestion for legislation is that our elections are administered like a jury duty. That you actually have a randomization of the people that are involved in the production of the ballots and all that other stuff. That's like a jury duty. That day of election becomes something that you do, and it's part of the process. So the question for you guys is, when you have a neutrality, when you're supposed to be neutral and advocating both sides, and you are the expert, how do you level that out? How do you say, I'll hear from both sides, and I know you were a legislator when you pushed the Let Rhode Island Vote Act. Now you have to take off that hat. How do you remain neutral now with regard to advocating for one system or the other? Because clearly Nellie Gorbea advocated in front of panels with regard when she was holding the office. And the machines and all those other things I see as being a problem in that nobody has the expertise. And even with my expertise or with another gentleman having a great deal of expertise, no one can see inside the machines. No one understands what's going on with those things. It's the black hole.
So I'm not sure what the question is, although I can tell you that whatever information we can provide, and a number of people in this room have read thousands of emails that I've sent over the years, we're very open with the transparency stuff. I've given a ton of information. We try to get it to everybody as quickly as possible. All I can say on that is just make the request. I think that we've been pretty open about what we provide. We're gonna continue to be open because that's really important. We're always available to answer questions. I mean, we go out and do these. We're answering the questions as best we can, but we just need specific requests that have been coming in, which is great, and same thing with Gail, but we need the requests to come into us, and we're gonna answer them as best we can.
And we're committed to do what I said prior, which is we'll bring the Board of Elections and the vendor to an event prior to the election. And then
Could you include protocol networks?
Can we get some different questions?
Sure.
Like mine? Mine's a different question.
All right,
That's me. Okay, so this is on a slightly it's a different note, but it certainly affects voting in elections. So I just became aware of the House Bill 7117. It's in the General Assembly. I have it right here. And it was introduced January 10th. So this is called the Preliminary General Primary Election. I don't know if it's going to be Act or whatever. So this Preliminary General Primary Election bill is a bill to replace the present way that we do primaries. So there would not be a Republican and a Democrat, it would just be general. So that when you go in, you vote for anybody, whoever, okay? So for example, if there are 2 offices that are up in that primary, the top 4 people will, go to the general election. Or if it's like a presidential, and there's 1 office available, then the top 2 people getting votes will go to the general election, regardless of what their party is. Well, no, it's not, but it's a segue into ranked choice voting.
It's called an open primary.
Yes,
And yes, everybody runs, you can run with a party identification, but.
but
it's
it will not
necess-
affect,
It's not necessary.
right. So-
Everybody votes in the same primary, the top two, in the case of most elections, go on to the general election, and then,
Yeah, so,
or two Republicans.
so what I'm asking is, what is, it does say here in section A, it is to reduce the field of candidates for public office for the general election. And to me, it's, why do we want to reduce the field? This is America, we want more people to be involved in the process, but also, what benefit does this have when it could result in two people of the same party going for the same office? Because in my mind, when you have two platforms, you have a Republican platform and you have a Democratic platform, this is not, to me, and I mean, I hope I'm getting this right, maybe I'm not getting, okay. So when you go vote for someone, it should not be a popularity or personality contest, okay? Or for the person who spent the most money, oh yeah, I know him, or well, whatever, okay? To me, it's a competition of values, okay? What you stand for, what moral code do you have, what values you have, what's important to you, and what you're going to try to do for the country. So, and you must understand that the two parties are vastly different in certain things. So to put two people, two Republicans or two Democrats vying for that one seat, I mean,
It's an elimination of a choice that's dominated by Democrats.
but it's not rational. It's not for the benefit. Who benefits from it? So I guess what I'm asking you, Secretary of State Amori, is to please do not support this. Please use your influence in the General Assembly. No, I don't know why this is on. Please use your influence.
So
It doesn't make sense.
The Senate held a commission to look into alternative voting. And the concept behind it was that they wanted a majority winner, right? So that's what has prompted this.
Why are they changing a system that worked so well in 2020 accordingly?
Well, because Gina Raimondo got in not by the votes. She got in
Right, so,
Right.
so
without
I'm just
majority.
I just talk about the intent. The intent
Yes.
with ranked choice and the intent with this is the idea that a majority winner will come out of the election. Whereas, as Senator Morgan said, I think the second election, Gina Raimondo received the majority, but in the first one, 40% of the vote.
Yeah.
Less than a part.
Less than
So it's, the concept is to eliminate a plurality winner and create a majority winner.
Yeah, but I just want to follow up. When you do that, though, like with the ranked choice voting, you are negating the votes of hundreds and thousands
That's
of
just a backdoor
people.
way into getting rid of the electoral voting process.
But it doesn't make sense to me. I want my vote to count, either lose or win, regardless of what the result is.
So in the ranked choice system, right, it's a recalculation, you rank people down. That's different than this.
Well,
Get thrown in the trash.
It's different because there's no, it's much different because there's no recalculation.
well, no, I understand, but
It's very much different.
if I'm a Republican and two Democrats get on the ticket, or vice versa, you're a Democrat, two Republicans, it's like,
Why vote?
gee, I mean, why should I bother to vote? I want my vote to count. I don't want it to be trashed like in the ranked choice voting, and I don't want it to be trashed because the person that I wanted to have an opportunity to run isn't going to have that opportunity. So I just want you to please
We're a unique state. in that
reassess that.
Our parties actually don't run